Well, we look ahead now to the U.S. presidential elections. What is social media saying about the two candidates and the elections in general? We're joined via Skype by Brands Eye CEO JP Kloppers. JP, good morning and thanks for your time. You've been monitoring and just taking a look at what the trends have been when it comes to support for both of these candidates. And is it right to say that for the first time there is no outright favorite, although we know Hillary Clinton leading by a little, but you can't exactly call her a favorite? And why is that, if we have an explanation?
No, I don't think you can call either of them a favorite in any sense of the word. You know, not to win and not in who they are either. I think, and that's really what we're seeing on social media, is this situation where people are confused, they're angry, they don't know who to vote for. And I think the part which has surprised us is how many of those there are, and how likely many of those are going to be to vote for Donald Trump tomorrow.
What's the sentiment also around basically, you know, many people saying we're going to vote for, you know, the person we hate least rather than who we want to be president? It's like we don't want Donald Trump, so our vote is going to go to Hillary. But given any other candidate, it may not have been Hillary Clinton. If you get what I'm saying, it's a sort of the least of the two evils.
Yeah, it is that. And I think the assumption we often have, particularly here in South Africa, what we see on social media is a lot of negative sentiment towards Donald Trump and not as much towards Hillary Clinton. That's not the case in social media in the US. There's a lot of negative sentiment towards Hillary Clinton as well, possibly even more than Donald Trump, which is a total surprise to see and almost shocking to say. But I think there is this deep mistrust that we're seeing on social media amongst the American people for established politics, and that people are so desperate that they would even vote for somebody like Donald Trump. And there's a lot of conversation like that. And I think if there's going to be a surprise, that'll be what causes it.
Now, when I think the world heard that Donald Trump was going to be the presidential candidate, they probably thought, many people thinking, oh, he doesn't stand a chance. But looking now at the gap, just the narrow gap between the two, what is it that has brought him those supporters? What are the issues? What has he spoken to the people about that has gained him the support that he has up until now?
Look, I think like we saw with Brexit, this has been an election, or a vote at least, which is less about fact and more about emotion. So his message has appealed to the disenfranchised, mostly white, male, middle-class American who feels like their jobs have been taken, they're losing their national identity, and the kind of this immigration issue where he says the most ludicrous thing, build a wall, that's become symbolic, but it appeals to this kind of deep sense of we've been left out of the opportunity for so long, and he keeps pointing at Hillary saying she's just fleecing her own pockets. And whether that's true or not, it actually doesn't matter. It's the emotion that he's appealed to within this kind of very broad category of the American population, that it doesn't matter what his personal life is like. He's saying to them, anything's better than another 4 years of just politicians looking after themselves. And that message has been very, very strong.
And just looking at what you've been monitoring, what you've been seeing, looking at the scandals surrounding both the candidates, JP, are you able to give a clue? Have you been able to maybe gauge where this will go, what we will hear tomorrow after Americans vote today?
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking at it very closely the last couple of weeks. And up until a week ago, it was almost hands down a Trump victory. You know, he had the most advocacy in all 11 swing states right up until a week ago. That's changed substantially post the FBI kind of retracting their allegations against Clinton, saying they're not going to investigate her, where now she, in those 11 battleground states, we're seeing her ahead in 4, Trump ahead in 5, and kind of 2 of them in the balance. I think the surprise is coming from Wisconsin and Colorado. If Trump manages to flip those from Democrat to Republican, as our data's indicating he might, then that could win him the election, even if Clinton wins Virginia and Pennsylvania and North Carolina. You know, with those big states, even with those, if Trump wins Florida and Ohio, which is looking like he will, and manages to flip those other 2 states, he could just clinch this election.
Oh, will we be in for a surprise tomorrow morning this time? I suppose we'll find out. The numbers will talk. Thanks very much, Brands Eye CEO JP Kloppers.